We're on, brother. We are on. Aaron, my brother, welcome back to Let's Get Freaky. How are you, sir? Looking
I'm
sharp, I
doing
must say.
wonderful. I'm doing wonderful. How
Yes.
about you? How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. You're looking fresh. You got the cigar. You're ready to go. Love that, man.
Man, it's been way too long.
I know.
Way too long.
I know. I've missed you, brother. I've missed you, man.
Man, it's been way too long.
Yeah.
How long has it been now?
I sort of lost track of time since I started doing the podcast. I feel like my judgment of time is terrible as well. Like when people say, when was the last time we talked? I'll be like, a month ago, and it's like 3 or 4 months ago. It's just my
Hell, I think it's been because and whenever I tell you so much shit has happened since the last time we talked.
yes.
Like so one big piece of news that I'll give you is I actually uh,
yes, brother. He's engaged or are you married?
married.
You're married.
Yeah.
Man, wow.
So
Congratulations, brother. Wow, God, has it been that long? Jeez, you got married.
because it's
Wow.
been it's since I think since before Halloween, hasn't it?
Man, I couldn't
There's no
even.
way.
It can't be that long. It can't be that
Dude,
long. I mean, I was
I'll
talking to
tell
you on.
you what.
We've talked on Instagram. Like we've
Yeah, we
definitely
talked
sent
on
each other
Instagram, but
messages and stuff.
we haven't done a pod.
Yeah, yeah, bro. Congratulations, man.
I
How,
appreciate it.
how's married life? Let's start with that. How's married life, man? Because it's a
It's
different ball
wonderful.
game. Yes.
It's wonderful. It's it's been an experience that it's everything I expected it to be
Yeah.
and more. So,
Ah, I love that, man.
but here's the thing though. So we went to the courthouse to get our wedding for this portion, right? But I wanted to formally invite you to the main wedding if you can make it, but it's a year in advance
Oh, bro,
notice. So I
I
figure you might
am,
be able to get something going.
I am there, and I'll be honored, man.
But yeah, you, the whole family,
Wow,
all y'all, more than welcome to come. It's going to be October 11th of next year, so 2025.
bro, man, that's an honor. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, of course.
That would be amazing, man. That would be amazing. We can sneak off and go squashing.
Look, you already know. And look,
Yeah.
guess what? Where we're going to be at, it's actually so my aunt, she's like an aunt to me, but she's been good friends with my mom for years. And they have property out in like basically the middle of like surrounded by cornfields and whatnot, but it's an old farmhouse and it's
Oh,
haunted.
wow.
So, but we're gonna have the wedding out there.
Oh,
It's gonna be beautiful,
that's
and
so
I'll get
cool.
y'all the sweet corn you could want. So,
Brother, brother, man. That's an honor. Thank you very much.
yeah,
That'd
of
be
course.
amazing. Wow. Wow.
Look here, I'll show you a picture of her. She's not gonna like this because she thinks she doesn't like how she looks, but
Ah,
she's gonna be pressed. But
oh, wow, brother.
here, hold on, let me see here.
Bro.
There you go.
Beautiful, man. Yeah, congratulations, brother. You're punching, brother. I'm sorry. That's a compliment.
I appreciate it.
That's awesome, man. Oh, I'm so happy for you, man. That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
That's amazing. Because obviously you got the new job now as well. We
So
talked we talked about that.
get this right. I lost the job at the school that I had. But the reason I lost it was because I had to take her to the ER in the middle
Right.
of my shift because her blood pressure dropped where it was 70 over 50. So not good.
Yeah.
And we took her to the ER. Everything was good, just low blood pressure shit. And, but whenever I did that, I called my boss and I'm like, hey, you know, I got to go do this. This is my wife that we're talking about. I need to make sure she's okay. And my supervisor's like, oh yeah, no worries. Okay, cool. Go ahead, go. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, if you want, whenever all this is said and done, I don't care what time it is, I'll come back and clean up the rest of the school and whatnot. Right. So he's like, yeah, don't worry about it. I got it. You just go ahead and go. Next morning, I get a call from the principal. He's like, "You left the school a mess last night." And I'm like, "Hold on now, hold on now. I talked to such and such, and they said that everything was cool. Go ahead and go." And he's like, "I think it's just time that you bring the keys in." And I'm like, "Okay, I see how it is."
Man.
And yeah, and you already know. Look, I'm a scrappy guy, so I was ready to to
Yeah.
fight. But then, my wife told me, she was like, "Don't do it. It's not
That,
worth it."
that dude was
So,
lucky, man. That dude was lucky.
oh yeah, it,
Oh,
I'll tell you what, because I was ready to fight him. Especially, I took like a week and a half to give him his keys back,
yeah. Wow.
so he can wait.
Yeah.
But
So was
oh,
that
go ahead.
a straight dismissal?
Yeah,
That's rough, man.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
taking your wife to the hospital.
yeah.
What do they
But
expect?
exactly. But I got to start my conservation job full time now, so that's been pretty cool.
Awesome, man.
So been
Well,
out
that's
there in the
cool.
woods every day.
That's the dream, brother. That must be amazing.
It's wonderful, honestly. Like, I'm constantly out on the trails every day. I'll tell you what, there's some weird stuff that I see out there every once in a while. Like, I know obviously, you know, we talked about last time the footprints and all that,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'll tell you one of the crazy things though is so we would do a lot of controlled burns. So basically, what we'll do is we'll have an area that is prairie, right? Prairie grass, and you got to burn it off. That way, it gets regrow and everything and grow up good, right? So we had that going on, and we're doing all this and everything. And 2 days later, I come through, and there's a stick structure there where it looks like a single stick was jammed in the ground and like other ones were placed around it like a teepee.
yeah,
And you could argue that people did it, but it's like, why? Why would they do it? I can get for shits and giggles a little bit, but I mean, even then, like, what's the purpose?
yeah. What are they getting
Especially in a
from?
place where it was at. So, but that was strange. And I don't know, just weird vibes. I'll tell you something else too, though, is that at the school, so the school was built in 1903. Okay. It was either 1903 or 1913, one of the two, but it was an all girls Catholic school with nuns and all that.
Oh man,
So, because I remember telling you a little bit where I was like, there's some weird stuff that happens there. The first night that I was there cleaning, I was there at probably like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And I'm sitting there and sweeping up this room. And all of a sudden, I got the vibe that somebody walked in behind me. I turned around expecting to see a teacher there. I didn't see anything there at all, but I could feel the eyes there. Right. And the crazy thing is that immediate vibe I got was a nun. And I just gave the energy back of like, listen, I'm just trying to clean the school, make sure it looks nice for y'all. And right after that, I got the energy of like, okay, no worries, just checking in on you and, carry on. And after that, I never had any, bullshit happen with anything like that.
interesting.
Now, there was one night that, and we'll come back to the nun because there's another thing that happened with that where it didn't happen to me, but I heard something about it. So another night, I was in there and it's probably 2 in the morning, right? I'm in there cleaning everything. I'm humming, whistling along, minding my own business like I should be. And all of a sudden, I hear what sounds like a whimper in the girls' locker room. And it's like, past midnight. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I know I didn't just hear that shit. I know I'm not tripping. And I listen again, and all of a sudden I hear it again. And I'm like, nope. Turn around, left. I called the police because here's my thing is I don't know if there's a little girl in there or something,
Yeah,
because we had a game that same night, right? So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, shit, it might be like a girl or something like that that's there. Who knows, And I called the police. They come in there to check it out, right? And I'm sitting there walking behind them because I got to unlock all the doors for them, right? And they're in there checking shit out. And one of the guys turns around and he's like, "Did one of you guys just say that?" And we're like, "What?" And he's like, "It sounded like somebody just said, hey." Right? So I'm sitting there like, listen, I told y'all. Because they all thought it was bullshit, right? They all thought like, he's just crazy and whatnot. And, big guy scared of something little like that. No, they're sitting there and all the guys are like, oh shit. Oh, because it's creepy. It's creepy as hell at night,
Yeah, man, I bet.
And it's just, there's a lot of weird stuff that happened there. I remember there was one time it sounded like a little girl was laughing running down the hallway.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it
So,
was.
I think that's got to be some of the, like, ghost kids and ghost nuns are two very scary
Well,
things, man. I mean, that's.
well, that was the crazy thing about the nun, right? So I remember there was one night I got to talking to one of the coaches there, right? And he's telling me, he's like, because I didn't know anything about this before I talked to him. He tells me, he's like, yeah, there actually used to be a nun that ran the coven, or like whatever the group of nuns is called, right? Ran the group, and she ran the school and would like check all the teachers and everybody out. Like she was the one that was in charge of the school. So like anytime there was somebody new, they had to meet her and stuff like that. So isn't it crazy on my first night that I had that experience where it felt like there's a nun
Yeah.
walked in there?
She was checking you out. Wow, man. So you said you made peace. Was that in the mind that you made peace with
Yeah, I just
this
kind of
spirit?
was, I just kind of gave that energy back and just like, listen, I'm just trying to clean the school,
Yeah.
and after that, it was like, okay, yeah, you're doing a good job. That's what I felt like.
Yeah.
So,
It's interesting, man. So was you working all through the night?
yeah, I would be done
Ah,
probably about, 2 or 3 in the morning.
okay.
So I would get in there probably about, you know, 6, 7 o'clock at night and be done by about 2 or 3.
Okay.
So it was an interesting job.
Yeah, and you're working on your own as well, yeah?
Yeah. Nobody else in the school at all. Just
Oh, that's
this big
freaky,
ass
man.
school on my own.
Yeah, man. With ghost nuns and ghost kids is not that's something that
You want
really
to talk
scares
about,
me.
yeah, you want to talk about terrifying. Because look, then I'd be on the phone with my asshole like friends and whatnot, and they'd be like, well, hopefully you don't turn around and see a nun standing there. And anything. He's like, bro, shut up. What are you sitting there trying to play with me for like that? Come on now.
What's the film? I think it's called The Nun. What's
Yeah.
that? I mean, that is the freakiest looking.
Yeah. 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 Now
Oh, that's
picture
that's what
working at a place where
that's
they were at.
yeah, that's what I'm seeing in my mind. Imagine bumping into that would not be cool.
I'd have thrown hands.
Yeah,
I'd have started swinging.
don't blame you, man.
I'd have started swinging and running.
Windmill, let's
Yeah,
go.
windmilling. It gives me traction.
Yeah, man. So last time we talked, you just found a fresh possible Bigfoot footprint.
Yeah.
Where you're working now, is that the same place?
Yep.
Oh, cool. So you're in Squatch territory.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, honestly. There's a it's so strange because so like being part of the conservation district, we actually manage over 4,000 acres of land. So we'll be out there, covering whole different portions of land, not even just, you know, the one where I found the footprint, but other portions as well, throughout our county. So there's one portion that I'm not even kidding you. It's like 460 acres of just prairie grass and trees on top of this like mound. And something could easily live up there and never be seen or found or anything. But it's because nobody's allowed up there at all. like whatsoever. And there's no
What?
hunting up there. There's no
What?
nothing.
Nobody's ever allowed to go up there.
Mm-mm.
Interesting.
And nobody's allowed to go up there because it's like heavy metal content or something like that. So it could be like toxic or something. But
Okay.
yeah, it's
So
strange.
yeah, it's cool though, man. So been working there every day, and obviously you was going there a lot anyway.
Yeah.
Have you come across any more prints or seen the big dude yet?
I've let me put it this way. There'll be times where, you know, I'll be out there and I'll be on, the RTV, the side by side driving through, just checking trails and whatnot. And you'll see something like out of the corner of your eye every once in a while.
Hmm.
It'll look like a stump, and then like you look back and there's nothing there, and it's like, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I'm out there every day. So I'm not really like, you know, I'm just doing my job.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not really looking for anything per se. I'm just working.
Are the guys you're working with, have they seen anything? Have they experienced any
Nah,
squat?
but they don't really look for anything at all. I mean, anybody that's seen these things or been around stuff like that or anything, I mean, and I know you've heard plenty of things about it where it's like, and I know you've had, stuff happen before previously too, not even just, in that realm, but just anything. If
Yep.
you're not looking for it, you might completely miss shit,
Oh yeah, for sure.
you know?
Yeah.
But that's the thing is that that's the difference between people that, like, because obviously you have some people that'll see stuff because they'll, you know, how do I put this? They'll just come across it, right? Like, how many people you think step on Bigfoot tracks out on trails and out in national parks and whatnot,
Yeah. It must
where
happen
they're
all
not
the
even paying
time.
attention? Or,
100%.
or like I remember somebody was talking about, I think it was Tim Kumbo Baker. Um, he was talking about how how many people will sit there and report a weird bear. Oh, well, I can't believe it. That was the weirdest bear I've ever
Yeah.
seen,
Yeah.
right? And it'll be that, you know. Or how many people will sit there? Like, just think about that. How many people do that? You
Yeah,
know,
man. Yeah.
but it's because they'll sit there, they'll look for like 4 seconds, and then they'll look away. They'll be like, okay, I'm not. I'm here to walk.
Yeah.
You know, or I was just driving along and I saw this thing. Get up on its hind legs and walk across the road. It's like, if you're not paying attention, you're not looking out for shit. You're never gonna see it unless it legit comes out in front of you, type deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, when people describe seeing like bears walking and stuff, I know that does happen. I know it's quite rare, but bears do sometimes walk on two legs and
Yeah,
stuff.
and but the thing is that whatever they walk, they kind of
Yeah.
like,
You can
and I
still
know
see
you
it's a
got
bear.
well, yeah, and that's the thing is that you got kids, they walk like a kid, they walk like a toddler. Well, they'll sit there
Yeah.
and they'll just like kind of waddle.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
can't sit there and make a full stride
Yeah.
because
Yeah. It doesn't
they're
look
not meant to.
natural. Yeah.
No, and it's
Yeah,
like
man.
you sit there. Like I love how people will sit there and they'll try to compare bears and shit to these creatures and whatnot. And it's like, hold on now, like you look at every report whenever somebody discusses how they move like they're gliding. And if you watch a bear, like I've seen bears in the woods walk, it's weird. They don't look
Yeah.
like they're gliding. They look
No.
uncomfortable as
Yeah.
shit.
It's like a man putting on high heels and trying to.
Yeah, and trying to just
Yeah. Yeah.
waddle around.
It's
It's
not.
just not.
Yeah. It looks weird.
Yeah, it's odd.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell you another thing that was really strange that happened out there was I I really started like looking into fairies, like the Fae folk and the Celtic
Love that.
culture,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of patches of fairy circles out there, like a bunch of just different types of flowers, mushrooms, and shit like that. And one
So
thing that was really interesting was, did I ever tell you about the time I got lost out there? I can't
I'm
remember if I told you about that.
You might have done if you refresh
So
us. Can I just ask you what the fairy circles are? What are they?
Yeah. So basically, a fairy circle is supposedly, you know, if you step into like a circle of flowers
Hmm.
or a circle of mushrooms, you know, you're stepping into their world, the Fae folk, the fairies, and a lot of people they'll step into them and they'll hear weird music or like singing and dancing around them, or they'll get taken. Like they'll have people that'll come up to them and be like, "Come on, come on, let's go," and they'll have this huge feast and a party and everything, and they'll be guided back out after the party, and you know they'll step out of the fairy circle, and all of a sudden everything gets dark, and then they hear people like calling their name, and they start seeing flashlights. People are like, "Where the fuck have you been? Like, where have you been? We've been looking for you all night." And it's
They've
just that,
gone into
yeah,
like a portal, another
yeah.
realm.
So, and
My
it's
my
strange
my
because
good,
people get let off course
yeah.
by these things too. And that's one of the crazy things, and I didn't realize it until I was actually like researching it and whatnot. But I remember the time where I got lost in this patch of woods that I've been through multiple times, you know. And I mean, I work there now. And at the time, though, before that, I was walking it, and you already know this because I talked to you about it. I was walking these woods every day. Every day I was out there walking the same trails back to back to back to back. And I get lost one day. And I'm like, what? How am I lost? I've been lost in the woods like maybe 2 times. I think one altogether besides this time. And I'm lost in a section of woods that I'm in every day. And something kept telling me, go down this trail. Come on, just come down the trail. Yeah, everything will be okay. And the weird thing was, though, is that everything in my mind was telling me, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't go down there. Right? The gut was telling me, like, leave that shit alone. Don't do it. So I left. I just turned around and I kept on walking and walking until I finally found my way out. And then I got out and I realized that all I would have had to do is just turn around and walk the other way. And I would have been out off the trail.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm a woodsman. I'm in the woods every day, and now I do it for work, right? There's no way that I would have gotten lost in those woods. I
Yeah.
don't know how, to this day, I don't know how that happened. I
When
don't.
when you were hearing the voice trying to guide you down a certain path, was that in the mind?
It was more like a feeling,
It was a feeling. Okay.
like that, like, just come on, come down the trail.
Yeah.
Everything will be okay.
It
You know,
is, man.
it was so strange.
Yeah. I mean, I've been lost, and I think I might have told you this. I'm not sure last time we talked. I've been lost in the forest,
Yeah,
in my local forest, and I'm not a woodsman. I mean, I'm out a lot in the forest, but I'm not like you
yeah,
know, I wouldn't last very long without without essentials. Um, but I took the kids, so I'm always over there, always over my local forest, which is pretty big. It's quite a big area. You could get lost in there, but I normally stick to the same paths and I know where I'm going. And I took my two daughters, and their friend. We went for a walk with the dog, and I'm like, it's okay, we'll go this way, guys. And somehow, on a walk that I do all the time, we got lost. And the kids were sort of like starting to, but we want to go back now, Daddy. And I'm like, yeah, we're going back. And I'm trying not to panic
freak out.
because I'm
Yeah,
like, right, I'm lost. I've got two kids. I've got three kids here, my dog, and I don't know where I am. And we did manage to find our way back in the end. But for that 10 minutes or so that I was proper lost, man, it was scary, man, because I
well,
suddenly felt very,
well, you
and
feel vulnerable.
yeah, yeah,
Well,
especially with the
and then
kids
on
with me. I was
well,
thinking,
and then on top of that, it doesn't make sense
yeah, it's weird.
because you're sitting there and you're like, I walk this trail every day.
Mm,
Or I walk it, all the time. How,
yeah.
how?
You
And
should
then once you
roughly
get out,
know. Yeah,
yeah, and then once you get out and you look back, you're like, all I had to do was this.
yeah.
How did I get turned around? But it's like I think I told you about this before, where you know, whenever people say they feel like they're walking in circles, it's because they actually are. because what'll happen is that whichever foot is your dominant foot, it'll take you in a circle if you walk
Yeah.
long enough.
I saw that somewhere recently as well. It was on some program that I was watching. They was
Yeah,
talking about as humans, we naturally walk in circles.
yeah.
I can't remember what I saw it on, but I saw it on
Well,
something.
it's because that your dominant foot will always take you in that direction. It always
Interesting.
will. So,
It's
but
weird, man.
it's a strange. The woods are a strange place, you know.
Yeah.
And another thing I've really been looking into is like uh, David Blightus and the missing 411 stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
You ever
Love
heard
that.
about him?
100%, man. Fascinating.
Okay.
Before we get into it, can I just ask you something about that experience that you just had where you got
Yeah.
disorientated? Do you know, do you know, have you got any idea what that could have been? What could
I have
have
no
led
idea.
you? Do you think it's possible that you went into one of the fairy circles and you
I
was,
don't know if it was that or if it was because there's other things with fairies where it talks about how, you know, they'll just lead you astray. You
Mhm.
know, they'll make you get lost
Yeah, it's weird how
where you
you
can't.
had that feeling to go down that path. Like,
Yeah.
where would that have took you? You know, it's weird, man. It's quite
And
scary.
that's the other thing too, is that if I would have gone down the path, it'd been a path that I've been down many times.
Yeah, that's weird as well.
Like, but something told me don't go down that path.
Bless
That's the
you.
crazy. Thank you. That's the crazy thing, though, is it's like there would have been no reason for me to not want to go down that path because I've been down it like most of my time being out there.
Yeah,
Like, and I was doing it every day. I don't
weird,
know.
man. Yeah, it's weird. It's interesting, man. There was another time where I got lost in the forest when I was with the wife this time and kids, and we was in a forest that we knew well, but we was in a part that we didn't really know that well. And I remember we got lost, and again, try not to panic. I'm the man.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to stay cool.
yeah.
I'm the one they're relying on. And all of a sudden, we just saw this. It was a dude, some dude just come out of nowhere in army gear. And I don't think he was in the army. I don't know what he was doing and just sort of ran past us. And I was like, what the heck is going on? That's not good. That's not good. Anyway, we found our way out of that forest as well. But yeah,
Wow, even that's strange though.
yeah, yeah, it was strange.
Did it
This
look like modern army gear? Or no.
it looked like I don't know because there was some ponds around there, some like little lakes and stuff where people do fishing. So I put it down to he must have been in fishing gear, but you know he had army trousers on, army top on, and he was just sort of just running. And I was like, that's weird, man. He was a
I mean,
full bodied man, but I don't know. I just felt a little bit. I didn't have a weapon on me, and I felt a little bit, you
I'm
know.
almost wondering if that wasn't like a residual haunting, possibly.
I mean, yeah, it could be, man. It could be. At the time,
Well, because
I didn't think that at the
it,
time, but it could be, man.
well, did he look like he was on like a just like a jog or run, or
No,
like did he look like he was?
it looked like he was running from something, you know. It was quick, you know, and it just and because we was lost in the forest where it felt like we was alone, and then all of a sudden this dude comes out of nowhere in army gear. I think he had a bag on, and he was just sort of running. So, and I was a bit, well, what's he doing? You know, when you sort of because it was quite a forested area as well. You couldn't really see a lot around you. We wasn't really on a path. We were sort of just gone off track, which we shouldn't do
See,
really, but.
now that reminds me of something that I haven't thought about since it happened. There's a few times where I'll be riding on those trails of the RTV and everything. We'll be going down on the side by side, and you'll come across a hiker, right? And they'll wave and everything, and or sometimes they won't wave, right? And you'll drive up the trail and you'll look back and there's nobody there at all, like whatsoever.
Man, how often does that happen?
I'd say like maybe once every 2 weeks or so.
So quite often, man.
Yeah, you'll see somebody where they'll just be hiking along. Like I
Yeah.
remember there was one guy, he was wearing it was like red shorts, like about I'd say 2 inches above the knee,
Mhm.
and he's sitting there, has like tank top on, backpack, and he's carrying a water bottle. Everything that would have stuck out I'm sitting there looking back, and I see him, and then I look back again, and he's gone. And there's no side trails to cut off on. Another thing is this too: is that in shorts, you're not going to cut through like into the into the bush. You're not going to do that,
Yeah, yeah,
unless you're crazy.
yeah.
Like,
It's
let me put it
weird,
this way:
man.
I'm in the woods a lot, and I wouldn't do that shit.
No, it's weird, man. But when I was a kid and definitely saw a ghost in my room, that was full-bodied man. That was, if I had seen him in the street, I wouldn't have thought it was a ghost. It was a full-bodied. It was just like a man was
Yeah.
there. So I often think it's something I've been thinking about recently. Is it possible for us to walk past someone in the street and it could be an
Oh yeah.
entity, or it looks solid. You don't even think about it.
Well, that's like I remember. Did I tell you about the local theater we have here in town?
You may have done. But you have to refresh my
We
memory.
we have a theater here in town. We have two theaters here in town that are very, very like notorious for having hauntings and shit. And one of them, I remember so clearly this happening. My dad and I went to go see a movie there, and we were sitting down in the front row and up in the balcony section, right? Nobody's allowed up there at all. I remember looking up there and seeing a person up there, right, sit down like he was gonna watch a show. And I look back and he's gone. And I can every once in a while I'll have the memory and I'll remember what he was wearing and all that, but right now I don't remember what he was wearing. I just remember looking up there and seeing a guy sit down because he looked over at first, sat down, kind of like settled in, and then I looked back up and he was gone. And nobody's allowed up there. And they have like gates and shit to block it off, like little
Oh,
chains and
really?
whatnot. Yeah.
Ah. So it couldn't have been someone that was just in the wrong space.
No.
Like,
No way. Because
okay.
the entrance to get up there is right by the ticket booth box.
Yeah.
So they would have called him out and been like, hey, don't no. Go down.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, man. It makes you you've heard my fox experience. Have I told you that?
Mm.
So this was last year sometime. Um, I left work, and as you know, I live really close to where I work, and I'm walking
Yeah.
home, and I saw a lady walk past me and walked into the bus shelter, which is just literally right outside my house. And you don't normally see people. It's very rare that you ever see. I hardly ever see anyone at that time. I don't even see a car. It's very quiet.
Yeah.
Don't and I was just like, oh, there's a lady walking along. It's a bit weird, but anyway, it is what it is. She's walked into the bus stop, and a fox has come out of the bus stop, sort of turned and looked at me, and then run off. But anyway, so I've carried on walking, and I'm expecting to see a lady now because as she walked into the bus stop, there was a point where I couldn't see her, and
Yeah.
I just saw a fox come out. Now I'm thinking she's scared. The fox has been scared, and it's just come out. So I'm walking around and I've looked into the bus stop expecting to see a lady there, and there was no one there.
Oh shit.
And I was like, what? Like, I just couldn't compute it.
We
I was
can't
like,
comprehend it.
yeah, I was just like, where could she have gone? Because there's nowhere she could have gone. Like, even if she was super fast, there's nowhere she could have gone without me
Yeah.
seeing her. So that baffled me. And at the time, I just didn't know what to think of it. People since then, when I tell that experience, some people say, have you seen a shapeshifter? I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know, man. It was weird.
this world's a strange place,
It
you
is
know?
100%, especially when you're looking into it as well. As you said, some people might not even,
Yeah.
think about it. They see something like that. "Oh,
Well,
okay, let it go."
think about how many people would walk by and just be like, they wouldn't even look into the booth,
Yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah.
They
Oh, for
just keep on
sure.
walking.
I just found it weird because there was a lady there, and when I finish work, there's no buses running, so
Yeah.
you're going into a bus stop. I don't know.
And that's so
Yeah, it's weird. It was
this
very
world's just a
weird.
strange place, but that's the reality of it though.
Hmm.
And that's what makes it beautiful. And I know
Yeah,
we've had that conversation before where it's like, those types of things are beautiful to see because
yeah,
it's like I'm lucky.
yeah. Oh, for
Now
sure.
granted, granted, there's sometimes where shit like that is not lucky and it's pretty scary, you
Yeah.
know? Like, so my wife and I, we got an apartment, right? And, she has a son from a previous relationship, and, he's my son too. And he's in his room one night, right? And I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to the store and grab us some water because we didn't have any water left, right? So I go to the store and I come back, right? But before I get back, my wife calls me because she's like, hey, is his Mickey Mouse toy out in the living room? And I'm like, no, why? And she's like, it is talking and our son's asleep. But the thing is, though, is this thing only works if you pull the string on the back of it.
Oh.
And of course, the one line that it says is "see you real soon."
Oh man.
I was giving her shit about that the
Freaky.
whole time I was on the phone. I was like, "There might be coming to see you real soon, baby. Who knows?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Stop."
That's scary, man. We've had toys go off. Like when we first moved into this house, remember we was sleeping one night and we heard a toy just start playing at 3 o'clock in the morning
Yeah.
randomly. Now that's scary, man.
Well,
Again, that's a scary,
well,
chilling
there
thing.
was one time. Well, there was one time I was at work and he was down for his nap, right? And we have a camera in there so we can watch him and whatnot. And, you know, she tells me, she's like, it sounded like he was playing. And I was about to go in there and, lay him down to bed, be like, it's time to go to bed right now. And she said, I looked on the camera, he's asleep. But it sounded like toys were banging around and rattling around and kids were laughing in there.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh. Did you look back on the camera and see anything?
Yeah, there was
Any
nothing there.
orbs or anything like that?
Yeah, just the sounds.
Yeah.
And
Man,
there'll
did
be
they
times where I'll be here and it'll sound like somebody's in there banging around and shit, and he'll be dead
yeah.
asleep.
How old is he again?
He is a year and a half.
Okay. So you can't really ask him yet what he's seeing and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
no.
Yeah, it's
I'll
difficult.
tell you,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though, I don't have it here, but it's at my old house. It's an African death mask. I think I told you about that.
Yeah.
And whenever they first started staying with me there at the old place, he would look at it and point at it and act like he was talking to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Kids see things, man. That's for sure. That is for sure. Apparently
Well, you got to think.
I had imaginary friends when I was a kid. I don't remember, but my mum was telling me I used to talk to people and I know kids do that, but now looking back,
You
it's
think about it, right? Think about how close as kids we are to that side,
Mhm.
because we're fresh. We're fresh from that area, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because obviously the souls are there, you know. So the souls are in another place and then they come here, right? So the souls are in another place. Think about how close they were,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then the older we get, the farther it gets. But then, you know, once you hit that certain age where you start getting closer
Hmm.
to, your soul leaving again, you start seeing more shit.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah, man. Kids, as you said, the kids are open to it as well, and they're not thinking like when you're an adult, you change the way you think. Obviously, you try and rationalize things, and
Yeah.
that's just what growing up is. But as a kid, you don't. Everything what you see is what you know. It's mad,
Remember
man.
being remember being a kid before taxes and bills and shit.
Oh man, I miss those days when literally you just didn't have to worry about anything. All you worried about was what you was playing on PlayStation. That was it.
Yeah.
That's sort of
Or
mad.
or school. That was
School, yeah. I look back at school, man, and I think I really wish I'd enjoyed it. So I didn't really enjoy
oh
school, to
yeah.
be honest. It wasn't
Well
until the last year that I really liked school.
well it's one of those things where you you don't realize you miss it until it's gone.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like most things, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, that's why, I always try to tell people enjoy the little things because the
Mhm.
little things are the things that matter most.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I was thinking that today because my boy is he's getting closer to going to school full time.
Yeah.
So he's doing like he's doing like 3, 4 days a week at the moment. And he was at home with me today, and I was thinking, I'm not gonna get this for much longer, where it's
Yeah.
just me and him, all day we can do what we want. And soon he's gonna be, I know obviously they get holidays and stuff like that, and
Oh yeah.
but it's just like I'm enjoying this moment. This is special. I had a
Yeah.
moment like that today. I was like, this is special, man. We're doing nothing. We're watching Blippi on YouTube, but this is amazing. You know what I mean?
Well, it's one of those things where, like, even in the time that I've, known my son, like, you watch him grow quick, like
Oh boy,
quicker than
yeah,
you'd expect,
hundred
you know.
percent.
And it's one of those things that while you watch them grow up, you're like, damn, like I don't want them to grow up. And then, like, you realize you're like, nah, they need to. But
Yeah,
it's it's a good experience, and I'm very happy that I'm getting to do it at my age. So,
yeah, man. Yeah, special. Enjoy it, brother. Enjoy it,
trust
man.
me, I'm going to. Well, we want 7 kids, so
Oh wow, 7. Woo! I got 3 kids and a dog, and that's enough, man. That's already too much. That's already too much. My eldest, she's 12 now, and I'm not cool anymore to her. Shut up, Dad, man. I
yeah.
can't do anything right. But no, it's amazing. It really is. It's a special thing, man. You got to cherish those moments.
Oh hell yeah. Well, and that's one of those things that I really look forward to doing too, is being able to take my kids out like on camping trips and take them out big hunting and whatnot,
Yes.
out squatching.
Yeah. Well, you're a cool
So,
dad, man, because that is cool.
oh yeah. I mean, that's the thing though, is that it's like we're trying to start him young now, get him out on hikes and shit, but he doesn't really like hikes right now. He'll sit there and walk 20 yards and then want to just be dragged the
Yeah.
whole time. It's like, come on now, kid. Like, I know you know how to walk and run around our apartment all day long,
It won't be long,
but
man, and you'll be saying the opposite. You'll be like, "Ah, can we
oh,
stop for a bit?" It
I
won't be
do
long.
that sometimes here at the apartment,
Yeah.
but I love it though.
Yeah, it's
It's
awesome, man.
it's one of those things where you watch it happen and you're like, yeah, eventually at some point soon we're gonna be out camping and shit. And I'll be
Yes.
telling him, all the shit that he used to do.
Yeah, man. Special. It is special, that's for sure, brother.
Oh
We
yeah.
we was going to get into the missing 411 before I
Oh
rudely
yeah.
interrupted you.
No,
What?
you're good. You're good, man. I love talking with you, Tommy. So like,
Oh,
no,
I
look,
love it, man.
yeah, but I'll tell you this. Some of the weird shit, like I really been looking into some of those weirder cases. Like I remember there's a case, I forget what the boy's name was, but he was a 3-year-old boy that was basically living with his parents on the ski lodge that they owned, right? And they had asked him, like there is a like small group of kids that were there. Like I guess you can call them kids. It's weird to call them kids now because they're younger than me, but like teenagers, like late teenagers, early 20s, and stuff like that, right? And they had asked, they were like, hey, like, is it okay if we take your son on like a little hike? He's really wanting to go with us and whatnot. And they're like, yeah, just make sure you watch them real good. And they're out on the hike and everything, and the kid runs ahead of him. And the last people to ever see this kid alive were 2 fishermen on a river. And he walks up to him, and this is out in like Colorado, right? And he asks them, he's like, are there any bears out there? And they're like, no, there's no bears out there. And the kid's like, okay. And he runs up the path, right? Never seen alive again. But they found his body, like I want to say it was either a few months later or a few years later. But his body was 700 yards up a hillside, right? And his shoes looked like they had just come straight out of a store. They didn't look like he had gone up like it was as if he was just picked up and dropped. And it doesn't make sense at all. And it's strange shit like that, or like ones that I really love is whenever they'll find skeletal remains and they'll rule it, like a drowning.
Yeah.
It's like how can you rule that? Like how? How can
Yeah.
you tell that that person drowned and they don't even have organs anymore? It doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
That's mad, man. The kid that was found, you say there was no marks on his shoes,
Yeah, no,
which,
his shoes, I guess they looked like had come, and I quote, come straight out of a store.
so if it was something like an animal that had got hold of him, it would be dragging him along,
Oh yeah.
and it would be, yeah,
Well, and also they said that they found his shirt intact. And if he was attacked by an animal, like I'll tell you right now, that animal would have torn through him.
yeah,
You know, it would not have just like, oh, well, we're gonna take his shirt off and then eat him. No, it would have torn into him.
Did you say he was 3 years old?
Yep.
That's horrible. I mean, I might be wrong. Could an eagle pick him up? I know they get small dogs and stuff, but
No, there's no way. Because
no,
you gotta think. Let me put it this way. My kid's a year and a half and he's 35 pounds.
yeah,
Now picture a 3-year old being like, 40, 50 pounds.
yeah, yeah,
Like he's not gonna be picked up. And even then, right? An eagle you'll still see, claw marks in the shoulder areas. So, and to go up 700 yards straight up an embankment, right? That just does, it
yeah.
doesn't make sense.
It's weird, man.
Like, or you'll find the people where, you know, their bodies they'll be found in a place where it was searched multiple times. Like, make that make sense, you
Yeah.
know?
How'd you
And
miss
then,
it?
yeah, or like out in the woods and shit where people just get lost, right? And then they're never found again. And it makes you wonder, and it makes me wonder, right? Could I have been one of those people that day whenever I was like, or could you have? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
But the thing is, though, is in your case, most people don't go missing with groups unless they're like the last person in line, and then like it always happens where it's like we turned around and he just wasn't there.
yeah, yeah. It's scary, man, because with the forest, like you feel safe when you're there, and obviously it's amazing in the forest, but there's so much danger and so many things that can go wrong.
So much.
And then if they do go wrong, there's no one there
Well,
if you're on your own or you're
think
far
about
from help.
this. Think about this shit, right? Let's say that you fall down a hill, a steep fucking hill, and you break your leg going down, or you break your shoulder, right? You hit your head, you're disoriented, dazed, but your phone fell out of your shirt pocket as you were falling down the hill. So now you can't get to it. You don't have a GPS tracker. Let's say that you forgot to tell your wife where you were going that day and when she should expect you back. Let's say you don't have a compass, right? Now
Yeah,
what? Now you could be down there, you know, oh, well, guess what? You decided to hike in the fall time. So now it's dropping below freezing at night and you don't have any way to get warmth. Like, there's so much shit that can go wrong and nobody wants to think about it.
yeah, man. Yeah,
Like, but that's one of those things though where even I'm guilty of, you know, walking out in the woods and not really giving too much of a shit. Like I'm obviously a lot more careful than other people, but I don't walk in the woods with a GPS tracker or shit like that. Now I always tell my wife where I'm going, like when she should expect me back, and I'll tell her like, listen, if you don't hear back from me in 2 hours, whether or not I'm telling you, hey, I'm still on the hiking trail, or hey, I just got out, call somebody, you know, because you never know.
yeah,
Like it's one of those things where I would rather be so careful than unbelievably sorry.
yeah, for sure, man. Have people gone missing in where you work in your forest?
No, I'll tell you what though, we had a boat that floated down river and there's nobody in it. and it was caught up on a tree and whatnot in the water. And we were, walking around looking for signs of somebody like trying to get up on the bank and whatnot, and nothing there at all. So we're just assuming that it probably was a boat that, you know, it could have just floated down river type deal. You know what I mean? Like somebody had it tied off and, backwoods somewhere or something, or stuck up in an embankment and, since it flooded through, it pulled it down. Who knows? But
Yeah.
it's one of those things where what if there was somebody on there?
Yeah, man.
And now they're out in the woods somewhere trying to find their way through.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'll hear about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I hear about it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I hope that wasn't the case.
Yeah,
But who
man.
knows?
Do you think with the missing 411, because there's a lot of cases that have been recorded, the missing 411, and a lot of them, they're never found again. Most of them. I don't think any of them are found again, are they? I know they might find shoes and stuff like that, but these people just completely vanish.
Yeah.
Do you think that in some of these cases, it is down to like Bigfoot, Dogman, cryptids?
Very much so. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you got to think, right? Think about it this way. You have an apex creature that could do anything it wanted with somebody, right? That's sometimes what? Like, I mean, I weigh what? 285 right now. Okay. That's 285 pounds of just meal walking around, hot and ready to eat. You know what I mean? And especially somebody like a child. You know how easy it would be to grab a child just off like that, especially for something that size? Be easy. Easy meal, you know? And it's the same as like for anybody, especially because you got to think, what are the people that's usually targeted, right? Or the people that usually go missing are people that have disabilities. So, I mean, you talk to anybody and you even see it in like you see it in all forms of nature, even humans do it, right? Where you'll have somebody that's, a criminal that'll specifically look for somebody that's an easy target to go rob, right? The same way as you'll have, a panther or a mountain lion that's going to be like, okay, well, this person's walking with a limp, right?
Yeah.
It's easy. It's easy as shit. So yeah, I think it's very possible that could definitely be a thing.
Yeah, man.
I
Have you
mean,
got?
I don't think it's in all the cases, but definitely possible. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes when these bodies just go missing completely, no trace, I think in those cases, yeah, 100% with there's something going on. That's whether they've gone into a portal or something. You hear stories of that, people going into portals and just completely vanishing. I
Yeah.
mean, who knows,
Or
man? It's wild.
or or you hear the stories about people that'll see something that looks like, muddled up water and like a circle, and they'll walk over to it, they'll put their hand into it, and their arm will disappear.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, what's on the other side of that?
Would you
Who
go through?
knows?
Would you go through if you come across something like that?
Fuck no.
Would you be tempted?
I'm I'm keeping my happy ass right where I'm standing,
Yeah.
turning around and walking the other way. Like it's one of those things where you gotta trust your gut,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, man.
Like honestly.
Well, one of my good friends, Kevin, from Where the Weird Ones Are, which is a great show. If you haven't listened to that yet, it's
Oh yeah.
awesome, man. Um, he was on the pod. He's been on the podcast a couple of times, and he had an experience where he was walking in the forest, and he walked through. So the forest was like, so he's walking through the forest. All of a sudden, everything around him changed. The weather changed, the look of the floor, the look of the, and he saw these like little mushroom creatures, and they were sort of around him. So he'd walked through possibly a portal, and he at the time he was wearing glasses, and I think his glasses fell off. Something happened with his glasses, and when he came out, and his sister was with him, and she was like, "Wait, what happened?" And he was like, "I walked through." this portal where he saw all this weird stuff, and his eyesight was better as well. So it sort of fixed his eyesight wherever he had been.
Wow.
Wild story, man. We recorded that was like episode 30 or in the 30, something like that, where he explains
Damn.
that. But yeah, Kevin's awesome. Check that out. Check his podcast out,
Oh
man.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there is definitely things out there in the forest that I feel like if I'd come up to a portal, I'd be really interested in looking in. I know it's probably dangerous, man.
Well,
Because sorry, man, another story I heard was have you heard of the cryptid huntress?
uh-uh.
She does a show, and she awesome show as well. Check it out. She um was on an investigation where they were filming these two dudes, and I believe they walked into a portal and disappeared on the camera. And yeah, and they went to
Oh shit.
another, so the atmosphere where they was changed, and then they came out, and I believe both of them passed not long after that. So I don't know if that was anything to do with it, but really weird, man. And that was caught on camera. So there's stuff out there. There is stuff out there when people just go missing and there's no trace. Scary
This
stuff,
world's a
man.
weird place.
Oh, for sure. It's yeah,
If
100%.
it, if it wasn't weird though, it wouldn't be any fun.
Yeah. Yeah, we love it.
But I think that's why people like us will always there will always be somebody that wants to know more. And that's the beautiful part
Yeah.
of the human experience is the the consistent and constant drive to want to know is what has built our world to the where it is now. It's constant innovation, it's constant drive to there has to be something better than this, right? We have to know more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So once you keep taking these little baby steps, boom, 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 it starts adding up. The next thing you know, you're like, holy shit. You know, I mean, I genuinely think that in your and I's lifetime, we're gonna have a lot of shit that's gonna be discovered.
Yeah, man.
Like a lot. Like with the UFO stuff, with Sasquatch, with all these things. I think a lot of shit can end up, coming up
Yeah.
where it does get to that point where like, holy shit, like I knew it, you know?
But the way our technology's going, I mean, you're thinking, who knows where we're going to be in 10 years' time? We might all be completely controlled by AI. We might
Well,
be, we might not
look where
even
we
go
came
out.
from. And
Yeah.
like, look where we came from in 10 years. I
Yeah,
remember,
man.
I mean, you got to think, I'm 25 and I still remember getting our first flat screen, you know?
Yeah.
And I know because, not to ask your age or out you or anything, but how old are you again?
36, brother. 36.
36. So think about all the
Old.
shit that you've seen.
Yeah, oh, for sure, man. When I look at
Like,
what my kids have got now and I know
yeah,
everyone, like, I used to hear my dad saying that and be like, oh man, what you've got now, why? But
yeah,
it's mad, man. They've all got they got their tablets, they got their iPads, and
it's crazy.
we couldn't even dream of that. We watched the same program every day when I was a kid, and that was
Yeah.
it. Like, they've got so much choice
Well,
now, and
it's like, think about this, think about even in, the time difference between you and I, 10 years difference. Fuck, what's changed in that amount of time?
yeah, yeah.
Because shit, whenever you were 10, that would have been 98, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
So you got to
yeah. I was
think
born in
about all the
87. I was born.
yeah. So think about all the shit that you saw through the 90s,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
in early 2000s, right?
It's like a different
And then
world,
now,
mate. Yeah.
yeah, and then you look at now, and then it's also you got to think about this too. Like you want to talk about portals, picture taking somebody from like back in the day and putting them now,
Yeah,
showing
man.
them shit, you know, like picture taking somebody from, even like a perfect example is my grandma, like my great grandmother, right? My great grandmother, rest in peace. She passed away in 2004, I want to say. She was born in 1889. So it's like, picture all the shit that she saw develop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, think about all that shit. That's unbelievable.
And we're developing quicker and quicker and quicker. So 10
Mm-hmm.
years, 10 years, what's happened in the last 10 years has been amazing. The growth has been unbelievable. We're probably going to see bigger leaps now.
Yeah.
So 2 years is
Yeah.
going to be unbelievable. It's going to be the growth, the growth of these amazing things. I mean, you look what's happening with AI and things like that, and how quickly that's growing, which is quite
It's
scary. But
unbelievable.
it is, man. It's wild. What is coming is wild. I mean, who knows what's going to be in 10 years' time? I mean,
Yeah.
we can probably do this in the same room physically.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the crazy thing. I mean, well, hell, you think about those like little headset things that they got now, like the VR shit.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, not where it's tracking your eye movement, so it can actually show like where it looks like if I look over at you, it's gonna show you in my peripheral all the way over
Yeah.
there. So it's like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, man. It's going to change the game completely.
It
Yeah.
scares the shit out of me
Yeah.
because I just want to move out to the middle of nowhere and mind my damn business.
Yeah, man. Watch the sunset, watch the
Yeah.
sunrise. Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things where I love the simplicity of life and how beautiful that is, right? I'm one of those people where, and I tell my wife this all the time, where it's like, I can be perfectly content with just waking up and going outside, just sitting out, watching the sunset or the sunrise and being perfectly happy with that. I can go in the woods and not have my phone on me at all. Like, obviously on me, but not on. I don't need to be on my phone to
Yeah.
enjoy my,
Yeah.
right? It's like, you know, bless my wife, but she loves taking pictures. I take pictures rarely. Like, if I see like a beautiful like scenery, I'll take a picture or video, you know, but I just don't need to do that. I understand why people do it, but I would rather sit there and enjoy the moment,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Because
And
oftentimes as well, when you see something beautiful
yeah,
and you think, I want to get a picture of this, and you take a picture of it, sometimes that picture's not as beautiful as what you're actually seeing.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
So you're better off taking in that moment. Yeah, sure. It's nice to get. I love getting pictures, and I'm one of the
yeah,
worst, to be honest. I'm like your wife. I take pictures all the time, but um, yeah, just to take that moment, that special moment that you're seeing something beautiful like a sunset. Yeah, that's
yeah.
important, man.
Well, well, it's like my dad really instilled that a lot of me whenever we used to go camping and whatnot, where it's like, you know, just like he would stop me. He'd be like, hold on, look at this. And we would just sit there and watch stuff. Even something as simple as just, watching the rain, right? Like, I remember there was one year we were out camping down there in Camp Ondasauk and everything down in Southern Illinois, and it started pouring rain. And dad just stopped me. He was like, hey, because he noticed I was just sitting in the cabin, like, like chilling out. And he was like, hey, come over here. And I went over there and I just sat with him and just watched the rain pour. And it was just one of those beautiful moments where, I'll always look back and remember that. But that's what makes the memory special is whenever you could sit there and you can look back and truly think on it and picture it in your head
Yeah,
because you took it in
yeah,
that much.
yeah, man. Yeah,
Well, because how many times do you look at a picture on your phone that you took, right? And you can remember it, but you don't remember it like it was yesterday.
yeah,
You remember it like, oh yeah, I remember taking this picture, but you're not sitting there looking at it being like, oh well, I remember in this moment that I felt this, like, you know what I mean? Like I remember looking back at memories in my mind, and you're sitting there and you can smell the rain. You can think about
Yeah.
like I remember feeling my dad's hand on my back, just being like, one day you're gonna look back at this, and it's like, but that's where enjoying the little things comes
Yeah,
from.
for sure. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's very important. Gratitude for the little things. In the end, are the big things.
Yeah.
I know we're getting deep tonight, brother, but that's the truth. That's the truth, isn't it? That is the truth. Those moments of just walking along, holding your kid's hand,
Yeah.
going to the park that you take for granted, that are the
Well,
most special moments, man.
it's like even I remember the first UFO I ever saw. I was with my dad, and we were down there in camp on the song. And I remember I pointed out to him, I was like, because I remember I was looking up, I always had a fascination with the stars and whatnot. And I would always just sit there and look up and see and just watch, just enjoy it. Right. And I'm looking up as we're walking across this path and I see this star moving. Right. And I'm like, hey, Dad, look at that. And, we're just sitting there and we stopped and we both watched it together. It's like I didn't get a video of that. I didn't think to.
Yeah, but
I
it's
just
there.
enjoyed the moment. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's here now. And it
yeah,
always will be. It's the
yeah.
same as like I remember my dad telling me a story about I don't remember if I talked about this with you or not previously, but my dad he had it was like a grandpa to him. It was my basically my grandma's like, you know, father figure, right? And they called him Uncle Tommy. And that's who my dad's named after, you know,
Great
and
name.
cool name, right?
Yeah, great name.
And basically whenever they would go over there and hang out with, Uncle Tommy, like at a young age, right? They're outside with him one night, or it was actually really early in the morning because he went out to go get the paper. And the two boys are out there and everything. And all of a sudden, this real bright, object appears in the sky, sits there for a second, and just leaves. And Uncle Tommy looks down at them and he's like, well, boys, that was really interesting. And then they just walk inside. It's like,
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's
but
cool.
it's one of those things where I hope that I have experiences like that with my kids.
Yeah,
I hope that all the weird experiences like that are not bad.
yeah, yeah. What do you think? I'm sure I've asked you this before, but what do you think UFOs are? What do you think we're experiencing? Do you think these are something from outer space, from another planet, or do you think they're from another realm, or do you think they're with us, living amongst us? What's your thoughts? And I know it's
I think
different.
I think it'd be all of that.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, here's my thing. For me to say I think it's one thing or the other at this point, I think that'd be doing a disservice to what it could be. Because you got to think, right? None of us know. Like, there's some people that know. You know what I mean? I know what I've heard, right? Because I think I told you previously about our family friend that worked for the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Did I tell you about her?
yeah, yeah. But remind us, brother.
So basically, we had a good family friend of ours that worked for the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. I want to say it was from 1966 to 1996, right? And she was basically the photo analyst for NASA. So all the pictures that came through from NASA, every picture that they took from 1966 until 96, she looked at, she saw, okay, and I asked her straight up, I was like, hey, this shit real? And she said, yeah, I've seen it all. And you got to think, if NASA is getting involved, it's obviously outer space. Now, I know there's a lot of shit where people are like, "Oh, well, NASA this, NASA that," or it's just a front. I don't know. What I do know is what they supposedly stand for, which is, you know, space exploration, space stuff, and figuring out shit out outside of our world, right? And if we know that and they're fucking with stuff like that, then obviously it has to be something like that, at least for that portion of it, right? Now, who knows? Like I said, we might sit here in a year's time or even less where they're like, oh, yeah, no, it's actually from another realm and this is what's going on and this is what's happening. And it's like, okay, well, shit, I'm not going to argue. You know what I mean?
So did your aunt, she actually saw and knows what NASA know? Or, because I'm sure
Yeah.
there's secrets in NASA and
Oh, yeah.
but I
Well,
mean,
because I remember because she passed away probably, well, that'd have been 5 or 6 years now, something like that. But before that, I mean, you know, she wouldn't really talk about it a lot. But basically, what we got was, you know, they are out there. And at the time, because you got to remember, whenever she was there from the 60s until the 90s, she was always told, you know, this is never going to come out because it would completely destroy our economy, which it would at the time. You know, now it's a lot more open because it's, you know, it's not just like, oh, well, little green men. Now it's like people actually have video footage, military coming out, all that shit. You know, it's very, you know, it's popularized now.
mhm.
But back then, it was just like, oh, well, that's a sci-fi thing. It's not real,
Yeah,
you know. So now picture if they sat there and like, oh yeah, well, this is going on, this is that, all this is happening and everything. Not have blown that shit up out of proportion. Like, and one of my favorite things is this: is it's like, you know, I love whenever you have people that are believers in God that'll argue with it. I'm a very strong believer in Christ, you know, and it's like, who says that he has to tell us anything about what's out there? You know what we need to know.
hmm,
And nowhere in the Bible does it say that we're the only things that God ever made.
yeah, for sure, man. Yeah,
You know, it does not sit there and say, like, oh, well, I made mankind and that's it. It doesn't say that.
yeah,
So who knows? I don't know.
yeah,
And
man.
I'm perfectly fine with saying that because look, I would rather, like, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna be very happy whenever we do find out what's going on because I'm gonna be like, holy shit, this is cool. But I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss the unknown, you know, which who wouldn't?
Yeah,
Like, there's gonna be some people that won't miss it,
there's a,
but I
there's a
am.
there's a bit of magic to the unknown as well.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it's one of
bit of
those. It's
mystery.
one of those things. Yeah. It's, well, without mystery, what is it? Like I said, you know, if there wasn't weird shit, we'd always it'd be boring,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
So it's gonna
yeah,
be like picture how it's gonna be for our kids if they tell it in this time, you know, and their kids. Like, so our great grandkids, where they're gonna be like, oh yeah, well, of course that happened.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just hope
It's,
we
I don't
don't
know.
get to like where we're having this conversation where I'm 90 and you're 80, and and we're still throwing out ideas. We still don't really know, which is a possibility. 100%
Yeah.
is a possibility that we're never going to find out, and maybe we can't find out. Maybe I don't know, but yeah, I want the answers. That's why we do this show. That's why
Yeah.
a lot of podcasts are out there because we want the answers.
Well, it's like we want the answers, but like, you know, like we both said, it's one of those things where once we get them, we might just be like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah,
And then after a while, you're going to be like, well, now what?
yeah, yeah,
And then it's going to go from talking about what it could be to, oh, well, are they lying about this? You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like, I can't remember if I told you about this movie or not. What the hell was the name of this movie? I think it was The Howling. You ever heard of that?
I don't think I've seen it though. The Howling.
So
But I probably have. When you start telling me
it's
about it, I might have seen it. I'm
it's a
terrible with
movie.
names.
It's a movie about this reporter where basically she gets attacked by this, you know, werewolf creature, right? And she goes out to this retreat because like this guy was like trying to attack her and everything, and she wants to like get better and all that. And while she's at the retreat, she finds out that it's full of werewolves. The whole retreat is just werewolves, right? And at the end of the movie, she's like, I need to do this. I need to prove to the world what's out there. So she goes, and it's her first time back as a reporter, and her husband's there watching and everything, or her boyfriend, whatever he is, right? And she starts changing and transforming on the show, right? And she's like, I have to prove this to the country and the world what's out there. And at the end of the movie, it just shows everybody watching, and they're like, CGI is getting really crazy nowadays.
Well,
But it just goes to show you.
That's how it ends.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it's one of those things where it's the truth. That's how it is.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah, man.
Or think about how many people see like something where it's like, oh yeah, there's no way that's not like that has to be fake.
Yeah.
But then it's like, how many videos out there you think are genuinely like real that people will just look at and be like, oh well, there's no way. That's just fun.
100%. 100%, man. Because there's obviously there is a lot of fake stuff out there, a lot. But I do think that there's so much AI that we can all get hold of now to create amazing things. And I think that's sort of done on purpose so that we don't believe anything we see. Because I mean, if you get a picture of a UFO now, fully clear, amazing HD, whatever, 4K, whatever, nobody's like, and you put it out, nobody's going to believe it. You know what I mean? There's so many great videos out there that are, straight. I'm guilty. I share a lot of videos that may or may not be real. I don't know. If I find it interesting, it looks interesting, I'll put it out there. But I don't know if it's real or not.
But that is the point where we're at right now, where it's like, would you rather not share it and then it be real and nobody else gets to see it?
Yeah.
Or would you rather share it and just, be like, I don't know. It looks interesting. You know?
Man. I like cool videos that are scary and, when you see something that you can't. Yeah. So that's why I share it. But
there's supposedly a video out there or a picture of a UFO from Scotland, I want to say it was. And somebody has it out there. But it depicts a huge, very crystal clear UFO picture from like, I want to say it was like the early 2000s or the 90s. You know what I'm talking about?
I know the one you're talking about because it recently came out, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, it makes you wonder.
I shared that as well.
Yeah, you did. Well,
yeah.
It's one of those things where the community that we are in, it's one of those ones that it was very tight knit, and now it's getting huge, right? And it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But it can be bad sometimes, because what'll happen is that it's going to be to that point where you have people in the Bigfoot community, for say, that'll chastise the shit out of somebody that'll connect those things with supernatural abilities. It's like, how are you going to sit there and be like, oh yeah, well, this can't be that. It's like, have you spoken with them? I would love to hear your conversation with Sasquatch, Like, who knows? I don't fucking know.
Yeah. I never get that. I never get that with the in-house. I know it happens everywhere. It's just people in general, but
yeah,
I know with the paranormal world and cryptids and UFOs, there is a lot of fighting inside as well, where people go at each other. This is not real. This is, and we should just be all on the same. We all want the same answers at the end of the day.
Yeah. Why argue?
Yeah. Why? So what? Yeah.
Well, I think they want it like that. I think whoever the powers that be that might know the truth, they want us to argue.
100% divide and conquer. Yeah.
Yeah. It's because you got to think, right? Picture of everybody putting their heads together and just really like research the shit out of it. Like if you had, like, I'll tell you right now, if I came into a lot of money, I dumped the shit out of cash into trying to figure stuff out,
Yeah.
you know. But
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I truly think it would only take like a group of like 5 or 10 people to really try to figure it all out. You know, you get a billionaire that has just endless funds to be able to throw at shit.
Yeah. We need
Picture
Elon
he,
Musk.
yeah, picture if he just decided to put money towards it.
Yeah.
Which I honestly think that he knows more shit about outer space and what's going on out there than he's willing to put out.
Yeah.
You know, but it's because look, whenever you hit a certain bracket of cash, you can do whatever the hell you want. You have
Yeah,
pull
man.
with the country, you know, the
Yeah.
world.
I spoke to
So
Reality Zards recently, and Nate was saying on that um, imagine if Elon Musk just decided he wanted to work out the Bigfoot. Let's work out what's going on. Just through all his
yeah.
money, through all the money that he's got into it. Can you imagine what
Oh,
he
we
could
find out
he could
shit. I'd
actually
give it a
do?
year.
Yeah,
I'd give it a
yeah,
year.
yeah, man.
But
That would
that's
be a cool guy to
hell
get into
yeah.
Bigfoot.
That's why I wish. Look. One of these days, you know, because you got to speak that shit into existence. One of these days, I might have some cash coming in,
Yeah,
and
boy.
whatever I do, I'll be sure to make sure that I put it towards the right shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I'll make sure that, I put it towards, genuine shit that'll actually make a difference, you know?
yeah,
So,
man.
but I'm also weird like that. So I sit there and put, if I had like a lot of money, I'd put $400,000 into
Yeah,
a Sasquatch expedition. I don't give a shit.
yeah,
What else is it going towards?
for sure, man.
Yeah,
That'd be
fuck it.
amazing. I want to be a part of that, brother. That's for sure.
Look, you already know. But that's like you remember and I know I haven't spoken about it publicly yet, so I'm gonna be a little discreet with it. But you remember the idea that I told you about with, and I know you already know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I've
Did we
been.
did we say it on the pod last time, or did we talk about it
I
after
don't think we
recording?
talked about it on the podcast, but we talked
Okay.
about it before we started filming.
Yeah.
So I've been writing and adding more to it, and it's coming along good.
Awesome,
And
man.
now it's getting to that point where I'm getting ready to start contacting people in our communities and asking them to be a part of it as well.
Interesting.
So, like, I know one person that I really want to get, obviously you. I want to get, you know,
Thank you,
oh yeah,
brother.
you already know. I really want to get Wes from Sasquatch Chronicles.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, I'd
Yes.
love to get him on there. And
Yes.
um, there's there's a handful of people that I really want to get in touch with because I wanted to be one of those things where it shows a community, you know.
You
But
can you tell the listeners? Can you give anything away with it? Because I know people are going to
I'll
be listening. Like, what is it?
I'll say this: there's going to be a project coming out soon that is going to involve, hopefully, a lot of our community, and it's going to be something that's going to truly show the drive and the determination that the people in our community put towards trying to find out the truth. And that's what I'll give for now.
Oh, nice, nice,
And
man.
what I'll say is this, and this is a possible title for this project, is The Whispers of the Unheard.
That's good.
So
Yeah. Yes, brother. We're excited for that, man. That's for sure.
I
I'm
think
very
it's gonna be
excited
good.
for that. Yeah. Yeah, man. But this is a great community, man. I know there is in-house fighting. There's in-house fighting with everything. Anything people are involved in, there's going to be bitchiness. There's going to be fighting. That's just the way people are.
Oh yeah.
You're never going to be able to stop that completely. But on the whole, I've had nothing but positive vibes from doing this podcast and from meeting people like yourselves, and the whole community is absolutely amazing. And you meet the
Same
best
here.
people. You meet the best people, man. Like,
Well, the thing is, you can find assholes in any place,
Yeah.
you know, and that's just the reality of it. There's shitty people out there, but there's also beautiful people out there, like yourself, you know,
Uh,
like other people in our community. It's the truth, you know. There's people out there that have good, beautiful souls, and there's people that you'll run into and you'll be like, I hope I never see that guy again, you know. But that's why it never pays to have a sour attitude about, you know, people in groups, right? Because picture if everybody just went through life just being a dickhead towards anybody that just, you know, it's like, oh, well, I remember there was one time where I was talking to this person and woo woo, he started, you know, saying this and that, and I just really didn't agree with it. So I'm not gonna talk to anybody else like that. Right? Who's that doing a disservice to? Because it's not doing a disservice to that guy because he's still gonna be a dickhead. You know,
yeah,
it's gonna
yeah,
be doing a disservice to yourself.
yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure, man. I think I'm a big believer in energy, and the energy you put out, you get back. And I think
Oh yeah.
that's definitely a thing, man. And focusing
It,
on the positive energy and is very important.
well,
You're
because
gonna
if
come across negative people that, you know, for whatever reason, that's just the way they are. But and we all have bad days, don't get me wrong. But
oh yeah,
what
there's
was
some
that,
sort
man?
of
What is that, brother?
there's a plane going overhead right now. That thing's close. Oh, it's a helicopter. There it is.
Oh wow, they're watching you, man.
To rock, probably.
They know we're
It's
talking.
well, that is fun fact. That is a military helicopter
Is
too.
it a black helicopter?
Yeah, it's a Black Hawk helicopter.
Oh man, they're watching. They're
They're
watching, bro.
listening.
They're listening, man. They know.
They know. They're wondering. They're like, oh, this shithead down here is talking about it.
They're working it out. Well, can you imagine if everyone on the planet, you know, and I'm far from perfect. Don't get me wrong, you know, but if everyone saw the world very spiritually and loving, everyone, imagine if everyone was like that. Imagine what this world would be like.
A lot better.
It'd be a lot better. And there'd be nobody, they don't want that. You know what I mean? There's no way they want
But,
people waking up spiritually.
well, it's like I said, like we both said, divide and conquer.
Yeah. Yeah, man. In
They
everything.
they don't want everybody to get along because if everybody gets along, how are they going to make money?
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
man.
what's one of the most profitable things in the world? War.
War. Yeah.
Like
Unfortunately. Unfortunately. And I know that there's a lot going on right now, and we feel like we're on a knife's edge because, you know, who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. But
it's
yeah, man.
it's one of those things that you know you just got to trust and have faith that everything's going to work out. You know, and obviously, me being a Christian, I believe the best thing to do is, you know, follow the fact that God has us, regardless of what we're going to be doing. I don't need to worry about anything. I know where I'm going after all this is said and done. But, you know, there's no reason for me to worry. And either way, I'm prepared for anything that comes my way. I've had too many times of dealing with stuff where I shouldn't be alive and I made it out, you know, and that's just how it is. I mean, it's like hell. You know, I was just telling my wife the other day about whenever we had one of our controlled burns. I almost died in one of those, you know.
What, recently?
Oh yeah. Yeah, like this close to dying.
What happened, man?
So we're in the middle of it and everything, and you know, so basically whenever you're doing controlled burns on, you know, like prairie grass and whatnot, you want to do it in sections. So you have a big section like this, right? You got a group that's burning this way. So I'm over on this side, right? We got people on this side that are burning a line like that. We already burnt this line, so it's a square now. So they're coming this way, and then I'm going this way, and then I come across and attach that square so it burns in like that. Then you have a section that's burnt out, right? I'm walking in, the fire jumps, right? So it jumps over, and I got two other guys behind me. So it jumps over, right, and it encapsulates me. So now I got fire on all sides of me coming in like that,
Oh
right?
man.
And it's from me to like 10 foot away. And we're talking, 10, 15-foot flames, right? Coming in on me. I'm sitting there. I turn, I look one way, look the other way. I realize I'm trapped. So I'm like, well, this is going to hurt like hell. It's not going to
Oh,
feel good.
oh,
And then thank God an opening came up where the fire stopped and like the wind changed, shift direction again. So I just walked right through and got out. But
man.
let me put it this way: it was so hot that through my burn pants, because we wear burn clothes that like are fire resistant, right? So you'll still burn up in them, but like it's not gonna. It's a lot less likely for you to burn up in them like that.
Yeah.
It was so hot that it singed the hair on my legs through the pants without burning the pants.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Oh, that's wild.
but that's
Wow.
that's the reality of that shit. Where it's like, you know, I can't just walk around and be like, oh, well, I'm scared to burn. I
Yeah.
got a job to do. It's like even my boss is like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. I don't know if he was expecting me to be like, no, I'm horrified. But
Yeah. I would have been.
like obviously, you know, it definitely was nerve wracking. But
Yeah, I bet.
after you've had so much shit happen, you kind of just get numb to that shit. You're just
Yeah.
like, well, it didn't catch me that time, huh?
So what was that? Just standing in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, wrong place, wrong time. I mean, that's how a lot of that shit is, though.
Yeah. I mean that
Like
that's
that was
got
not fun.
that, that is not a good way to go, brother. That's for
Fuck no.
sure. Man.
Yeah,
Oh no.
like I said, I remember sitting there just being like, well, I remember the clear thought of like, well, this is gonna hurt really bad. And then, the opening came up and I'm like, well, okay, not gonna hurt
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. Be careful, brother. Next time you're there, be careful.
Burn season's over this time, so I'm
Yeah.
good for now.
Jeez.
But it's
So
it's one of those things though where, because I've had a lot of moments in life where I almost died. And like close brushes with death where you're like, ooh, but it gets to the point where after a while you're just kind of like, well, okay, didn't catch me. Nope.
yeah. Wow, man. And you're only 25, brother. And that's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild.
No,
You're a lot more mature than me when I was 25. When I
I
was
think it's
25.
well, I think it's those experiences that make me really mature. Because you
Yeah.
got to think like whenever you have really crazy experiences and whatnot, and especially with brushing with death, you have to grow up. You can't be a kid anymore. Can't afford to. Because
Yeah.
if you are, you know, it's the same reason why I always tell people, like, in those moments, if you don't react right, you're gonna die. That's just the reality of it. You're gonna die. Like, picture if I would have freaked out whenever those flames were coming towards me. I was like, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna run through it.
Mhm.
The next thing
That's
you know, I realized I stepped into, a fire patch that's 10 foot across, deep. Where next thing you know, you're just in the middle of it
oh man.
and you're burning up. Like that's the
Yeah.
reality of it, right? So that's why you just sit there, you accept it. You're like, okay, yep, this is gonna hurt like hell. And then whenever you see your opening, you just walk out. I didn't run, I just walked out. So, but it's like, at the same time, you're talking to a person that, I remember the first time I ever had, guns pointed at me, I was 13. So it's
That's
like,
wild, man. That's
you know,
wild.
you, you just get used to that type of shit. Like, obviously, you never get used to it, I should say, but you get to the point where you're like, okay, what are you gonna do? Am I
Yeah.
gonna sit there and cry? No, I'm just gonna get through it.
It's a bit
Fight.
like the bit like the paranormal. When you
Yeah,
experience what are you gonna do?
it happened.
It's scary and it's always gonna be
Yeah.
scary.
Well, it's like I remember my first time talking to like a counselor and everything like about the shit that happened to me. And she was like, I think you should get tested for PTSD. I'm like, PTSD? I don't got PTSD. And then I go to a psychiatrist and I'm like, oh yeah, you actually have CPTSD. You know what that is?
No, what's that, man?
So it's complex post-traumatic stress disorder, which means that you have like multiple incidents in your life that are like, traumatic and stressful on you. I think the last time we checked is between 13 and 16 incidents. And the
Wow.
types of like symptoms that I have are, what did she say? She said the symptoms that you carry with your PTSD, I've seen in war veterans that have come back from Iraq and Afghanistan. I've never been to war, but I experienced those types of, you know, trauma flashbacks and, trauma responses and whatnot.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
and
I
that's
guess,
where people like my wife are so amazing and how they help me handle it. So,
yeah, man. But when you're in a near-death experience, whether you're in a war, I know it's so difficult, or whether you're in the street and someone's pointing a gun at you, I mean, both just equally as scary.
oh, hell yeah.
So, man,
Yeah.
have you? I know it must be. Is it something you're constantly battling, or is it something you've beaten, or are you still? Is it something you can't get rid of? Where are
Oh,
you now with it?
PTSD.
Yeah,
Oh, I deal with that every night.
really.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Where you wake up, like, I wake up from horrible dreams where you'll sit there and you'll be like, you'll wake up and you won't know where you're at. You'll feel like you're in the moment of the incident that you're dreaming about, right? And it's it's one of those things, like I said, that's why I'm thankful for my wife, because I'll wake up like that and she'll just, she'll like, hey, it's okay, it's not happening. And then you're like, oh shit, okay, yeah, you're right, everything's good. But no, it fucks you up. Like, I remember, like, multiple times where I would hear a car door shut too loud and you'd think it was a gunshot, or fireworks going off and you think somebody's shooting, right? Or, somebody will walk up behind you and it spooks the shit out of you because you just immediately remember shit,
Yeah,
right? No, it's a constant battle, but it's one of those things where you learn to live with it,
yeah,
because what are you going to do? You
yeah,
can't
man.
just curl up and hide. So
One
you
of
just got to pursue.
yeah, yeah, man. It's different. One of my friends came back from Iraq, and I can't imagine the things that he must have seen. I know some of the things he saw, and it terrifying stuff. Not nice, man.
Yeah.
And I remember we was in a bar one night, and it was a big group of us out. And I'm not super close to this guy, but I know him, and I knew him at the time quite well, and I knew what he'd been through and stuff like that. And I remember he just we was all in the bar having a good time, and he just suddenly left.
Yeah.
And I don't know if like 2 minutes later or whatever it was, we went outside, make sure he was all right, and he just had a moment where the noise of the bar, and then there was nothing, there was no fights or anything going on. It was just a noisy
It's a
bar,
lot.
and it was too much. Yeah, he had to get out of there because it was just taking him back to, and I just remember feeling like, wow, man, like the things you must have gone through.
Yeah. No, I have those moments where you'll be in
Yeah,
the middle of a party and, you know, it's almost because you got to think, right? Whenever you deal with that type of shit, the noise is loud in your head constantly where you're sitting there, because you got to think too, especially in somebody's situation like that. Like, and I can completely relate with him in the sense of you, because you got to think, whenever you're in survival mode 24/7, where, you know, you've had those violent encounters and whatnot, you're constantly in the point where you're like, okay, I'm ready for something to happen at all times. So if somebody walks into a bar, you're watching everything about them. You're watching their waistline, seeing if they have a weapon. Do they have a weapon? They might have a weapon. I see a rumple in their shirt. What is that? And then you realize that it's nothing. It's just their shirt crumpled up, right? Then you're watching their hands. You're like, okay, are their hands clenched? Are their hands open? Are they getting ready to reach for something? What are they doing? but you're doing this while also watching, 10 other people that you've been having your eyes on the whole night, trying to
Yeah.
make sure they don't have anything. And then everybody's starting to talk to you. And then everybody's, laughing and they're, just, enjoying the moment. And then what you start doing is whenever you start hearing the other people laugh, you're thinking, well, like, how come I can't have a good time like that? And then you feel guilty. And then you're like, hey, I got to go. Or you just walk out.
Yeah.
So,
Must be
yeah,
so
no, I
difficult, man.
completely get that shit.
Yeah. Must be so difficult. It's mad because obviously I know you pretty well now. We talk a lot. We've
Oh,
we've
yeah.
had we've had amazing conversations, and you're such a cool, positive guy. Like you really are. Great energy,
I appreciate
so
that.
much love in you, man, and I love it. I think it's amazing. And I know you've been through difficult times, but you wouldn't know it from talking to you, man. You really
No,
wouldn't, and I don't get none of that. So
but
you're a good
that's,
man.
I appreciate that truly. It means a lot, but that's one of those things where it's like, it just goes to show you why you should never judge anybody. Anybody that's listening, you know, I don't give a shit if it's your mailman, right? Everybody goes through something. I don't give a fuck what it is. Everybody goes through their own battles. Nobody's walking through this world with a beautiful and bright mind 24/7 for their entire life. This is not how it works. Even Jesus himself, look what he went through. And I was the perfect person, the perfect human being. And even he went through shit. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah,
But the thing is we all handle it differently. And some people have worse shit than others. But it's still shit at the end of the day. You know, it's just how you move forward from it. Like, I could sit there and let that be my whole personality, you know. But then who the fuck is that doing a disservice to? Because it's not, you know, the people that did shit to me, it doesn't bother them. It's just
yeah,
gonna sit there and bother me,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then what do I want to do? Do I want to sit there and hide in my house and never go out because I'm scared that something else might happen? No. If something's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. And I've had enough experience of dealing with it, moving forward, and handling business where it's like I don't need to sit there and be like, oh, well, what? No, I'm gonna handle it. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take care of business. I'm gonna get my ass out of it. And if I can't get out of it, then it's my time to go.
yeah,
You know what
man.
I mean?
Yeah,
Like I hope that that doesn't happen,
yeah,
but you know, if shit pops up, I'm gonna handle it. That's just reality.
yeah, yeah,
So,
man. Yeah, well, kudos to you, brother, because you're such a good guy. And
hey, well, look, so are you, brother. Honestly, you know,
ah,
like
I love
I've
it, man.
I've had some very beautiful conversations with you, both on the podcast and just texting and calling. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I love about doing this show, man. I meet the most amazing people. A brother for life with you, that is for sure.
exactly,
And that's
I
what
couldn't agree more.
that's what's blown my mind so much about doing this. I'm coming to your wedding, man. I'm coming to the party.
Exactly. Hey, look, like I said, man, it's happening.
I said, hold on, man, brother. This is a good point, I think, to wrap it up. We've
I
had.
think so.
I really appreciate you coming back on, man, and sharing your more experiences. We've talked a lot about life tonight, which has been really cool. And
Oh
I
yeah.
know this is there's so much more conversation for us to have. So we'll do this again very soon, and we should do it more often, man, because it's nice.
Yes.
So thank you very
Look,
much, brother.
thank you for having me as always, Tommy. I really appreciate
Pleasure.
it. I couldn't. It's one of those things where the moment that I get a date from you to film, I just cheesing from ear to ear, just
Ah.
excited as hell to talk with you. So,
Oh, bless you, brother. Thank you very much, man. Can you tell the listeners where they can find you?
look, you can find me on the Mysterious Outdoors podcast. I'm still trying to get that working right now. It's just been
It's coming.
hectic, life changing back to back. But
Hey, you're getting married, man. You're getting married. You
yeah,
got a
look, hey,
family.
look, things are moving. Things
They're
are moving,
moving,
but
bro.
I'll
They're
tell you
moving
what,
quick.
yeah. And I'll tell you this though, y'all can, like I said, y'all just go ahead, get ready for, the whispers of the unheard. And, more will come out about it. Just, y'all just got to give me a little time. But I'm trying to get some things working and we'll figure it all out.
I might have to call the episode that. Is that okay? Can I call the episode that? Obviously,
Hey,
credit
do
you.
it.
Yeah.
Do it. Let's get it.
You're a legend, brother. Thank you so much, man. Let's do this again soon. And stay safe out there. Stay away from the fires. And thank you, brother.
Hey, thank you. And to all the listeners, be careful. God bless y'all. Jesus loves you guys. Stay safe. And remember, treat everybody with respect, regardless of who it is. And just love everybody.
Amen. God bless my brother. And thank you to everyone listening. We'll see you very soon. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, brother.